Hello, my name is Emma, and I work as a freelance photographer. This particular job often takes me to new and unfamiliar places, and I've had my fair share of strange encounters. However, none of them compare to the bone-chilling experience I had at an Airbnb a few months ago. It was a quaint little cottage tucked away in the woods, surrounded by tall trees that whispered secrets in the wind. The host, a friendly elderly woman named Mrs. Anderson, greeted me warmly upon arrival. She handed me the keys and left me with a simple warning. "Enjoy your stay, dear, but mind you, this place has its stories." I brushed off her words, thinking she was referring to some local folklore or superstition. Little did I know, the true horror awaited me within the walls of that seemingly peaceful abode. The cottage was cozy, adorned with vintage furniture that creaked under the weight of years gone by. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the rooms, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. My camera equipment lay scattered around, and the dim light played tricks on my imagination. That night, an eerie silence enveloped the cottage. I lay in bed, tossing and turning, unable to shake off the sensation that something wasn't right. A subtle chill ran down my spine, as if a ghostly presence lingered in the room. Unable to bear the oppressive atmosphere any longer, I decided to reach out to the authorities. I hesitated, fearing they would dismiss my concerns as mere paranoia. But my instincts told me otherwise, urging me to make the call. As I described the unsettling feeling and the strange occurrences, the dispatcher assured me they would send someone to investigate. The minutes felt like hours as I waited anxiously, my eyes darting around the room. Finally, the sound of approaching footsteps broke the silence. 2 officers entered the cottage, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. I explained my unease as they carefully examined each room. My heart raced as they entered the bedroom, and I braced myself for an anticlimactic resolution. However, what they discovered beneath my bed sent shivers down my spine. Hidden in the shadows, a man lay curled up, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and desperation. The officers swiftly apprehended him, revealing that he had been stalking me, lurking in the shadows, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The man's intentions remained a mystery, but the mere thought of a stranger hiding beneath my bed sent chills down my spine. The authorities assured me they would conduct a thorough investigation, but the scars of that night remained etched in my memory. I left the Airbnb the next morning, haunted by the realization that the cottage held secrets far darker than Mrs. Anderson had let on. The experience left me questioning the thin veil that separates the ordinary from the unknown, and the fine line between a peaceful retreat and a nightmarish ordeal. Hi, my name is Lisa, and I work as a freelance writer. One assignment took me to a bustling downtown area, and I decided to book an Airbnb to make my stay more comfortable. Little did I know, my choice would lead me into the depths of a chilling mystery. The Airbnb seemed like a typical room, well decorated, modern, and brand new. The host, a friendly woman named Sarah, welcomed me and provided all the necessary details. She mentioned that the room had recently undergone renovations, which explained its pristine condition. As the night settled in, I began to notice strange occurrences. The air felt heavy, and an eerie silence hung in the room. The dimly lit hallway outside my door seemed to stretch into an abyss. Ignoring my growing unease, I decided to get some work done. Around midnight, I heard soft whispers echoing through the room. It sounded like distant conversations, muffled yet unmistakable. My curiosity overcame my fear, and I strained to catch the words. It was as if the very walls held secrets of a tragic past. Unable to shake off the unsettling feeling, I decided to research the property. Deep in my investigation, I stumbled upon a shocking revelation. The room I was staying in had once been the scene of a gruesome murder. A shiver ran down my spine as I read about the unsolved case that had taken place just a few months ago. Haunted by this newfound knowledge, I started noticing more sinister signs. Shadows danced on the walls, taking on ominous shapes that seemed to watch me. The temperature in the room fluctuated unexpectedly, sending chills down my spine. I questioned my sanity as I witnessed the lights flickering without any apparent cause. Determined to uncover the truth, I contacted Sarah, the Airbnb host, to inquire about the history of the room. She reluctantly revealed that the previous occupants had met a tragic end, leaving the room tainted with an unsettling energy. That night, sleep eluded me. I lay in bed, paralyzed by fear, as whispers intensified into audible cries. Unseen hands seemed to brush against my skin, and the air became suffocating. Every creak, every shadow, held a story of sorrow and despair. As dawn approached, I gathered my belongings, desperate to escape the haunting atmosphere. However, the room had one final revelation for me. In the pale morning light, I discovered cryptic messages etched into the mirror. Messages that hinted at a malevolent force, unwilling to release its grip on the living. I fled the Airbnb, leaving behind a room that concealed a sinister secret. To this day, I can't erase the memories of that dreadful night. The night when I, unwittingly, shared my space with the echoes of a tragedy that refused to be forgotten. The whispers still linger in the corners of my mind, a haunting reminder of the darkness that can hide behind even the most inviting facades. My name is Amanda, and I'm a graphic designer from a small town in the Midwest. Recently, I decided to take a leap out of my comfort zone and embarked on my first solo trip abroad. I found a cozy Airbnb in the heart of a bustling downtown, excited for the adventure that awaited me. Little did I know that my enthusiasm would soon be replaced by sheer terror. The Airbnb, a charming but slightly antiquated 2-story house, had an old-world charm that drew me in. The host, a seemingly friendly local named Mr. Thomas, welcomed me and handed over the keys with a warm smile. He assured me that I'd have complete privacy during my stay, which only added to my sense of excitement. On my first night, after exploring the city's vibrant streets and enjoying a delicious dinner at a nearby cafe, I returned to my temporary home. The night was unusually quiet, and the narrow alleyways leading to the Airbnb seemed to echo with an eerie stillness. As I stepped inside, a shiver ran down my spine, though I couldn't quite place why. The Airbnb was dimly lit, and the creaking wooden floors added to its mysterious atmosphere. I made my way to the second floor, where the bedroom awaited. The antique furniture and faded wallpaper gave the room an otherworldly feel, but I chalked it up to the historical charm of the place. Little did I know that this night would become etched in my memory for far more sinister reasons. As I lay in bed, scrolling through my phone and trying to shake off the unease, I heard a faint sound. At first, it was distant and barely audible, but it soon grew into a haunting moan that reverberated through the house. It was as if the very walls held the echoes of some ancient ritual, a cacophony of voices chanting in a language I couldn't comprehend. Panic set in as I strained to listen, attempting to decipher the source of the eerie symphony. The chanting seemed to come from somewhere outside the house, echoing through the narrow alleys like a ghostly serenade. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was intruding on something beyond my understanding, something malevolent. Fearful and curious in equal measure, I cautiously made my way downstairs. The old wooden steps groaned beneath my weight, adding an extra layer of tension to the already eerie ambience. As I reached the ground floor, the sound became more distinct, and I realized that it was not in English, nor any language I could recognize. I peered through the slightly ajar front door, revealing a surreal scene in the dimly lit street. Cloaked figures, their faces obscured by shadows, stood in a circle just beyond the reach of the streetlights. The air was thick with an otherworldly energy, and the haunting moans now transformed into guttural chants that sent shivers down my spine. My heart raced as I observed their strange ritual, feeling like an unwitting spectator to something far beyond my comprehension. Unnerved and paralyzed by fear, I retreated from the door and rushed back to my room, contemplating whether I should call the police or flee the premises altogether. As I sat huddled in the corner of the room, the chanting outside reached a fever pitch. It seemed to penetrate the very walls of the Airbnb, wrapping me in an invisible cocoon of dread. The air became heavy with an oppressive force, and I could swear that the room itself pulsed with an unnatural energy. Terrified and convinced that I had stumbled upon something far more sinister than a mere tourist experience, I mustered the courage to gather my belongings and flee the Airbnb. I slipped out into the night, leaving behind the mysterious ritual and the haunted house that had become my brief, unsettling refuge. To this day, the memory of that night haunts me, and I can't shake the feeling that I witnessed something not meant for mortal eyes. The Airbnb, once a charming retreat, now stands as a chilling reminder that sometimes the line between adventure and horror is thin and easily crossed.